I'm gonna tell you, it's such a pleasure to be here and to in essence, to be back home. You know, this was really one of the first neighborhoods that I can remember. We lived right over here on 71st in Princeton, not too far from here. And in fact, I think I saw coming in, isn't that Yale Elementary School over there?
No.
It was? What is it now?
It's Robeson High School.
Oh, okay, okay. All right. So this was my neighborhood when I was 3, 4, 5 years old. So it's been quite some time since I've been here. So I really, really feel at home.
Welcome home, bro. Welcome home.
Thank you. You know, it's been a struggle. You know, we have some difficult days and a difficult challenge, but we are engaging in that struggle because we have no other choice. 2016 is a pivotal year, a historic year, a year in which we have an opportunity to make a determination. What direction do we go as a people, as a nation? And many of us have decided that we're going to go in a progressive direction. We've decided that we are tired of surrendering our principles, our values, our ideals, our votes to a backward and corrupt two-party system here in this country. We have decided that we're not going to allow the fear-mongers to have us to abandon our principles. That we are prepared to step out in faith, step out by conjuring up the courage that we've always had in this country when we face oppression. To step out and say that we recognize that we have an opportunity to go in a new direction, and we have the courage to, in fact, do that. And so all of you who are already part of this adventure, I want to salute you. I want to salute the activists who are here trying to spread the Green Party message. I want to raise up my dear sister, who is one of the most dynamic organizers that I had a chance to meet during this campaign, Sister Selena. We're not going to talk at you this evening. I wanted to have an opportunity to have a conversation. We are engaged and we'll be calling these town hall discussions across the country, Dr. Stein and myself. We want to hear from folks who are involved in real struggle, people who are facing the everyday challenges of trying to live here in this country. So we want to have a conversation. But before we get to that, let me just share with you some ideas in terms of why we are here at this moment and what this campaign is really all about. Now, we have these conversations, my friends, because this campaign is not a campaign just to try to win your vote. It's not a campaign that wants you just to come and vote on November the 8th, and that's it. Now, that's important, of course. But we want you all to understand that this campaign is about a recognition that if we're going to bring about real change in this country, we've got to build an alternative structure. We've got to build a power structure that represents the needs and aspirations of the people. We recognize we are involved in a protracted struggle. In order to bring that power back to the people, we have to have effective instruments. And so we say that if you're going to participate in the electoral process, that participation has to be connected to the growing social movements here in this country. That if you're going to participate in the electoral process, you need to make sure that your participation is really taking us in a progressive direction. The only way we can ensure that, my friends, is when we are in fact connected with social movements. We have a vision that takes us beyond where we are today, that's reflective of a new kind of value system, that recognizes and understands where we need to be going as a nation and as people. So we say that we have to keep ourselves grounded in the realities of our people, grounded in this struggle in which we recognize and target the systems of oppression as being the ultimate objective to defeat. That this campaign is not just about voting, it's about transformation. So we want people to go beyond and think beyond just November the 8th. This campaign is about building structures across this country. This campaign is used as an instrument to strengthen the Green Party apparatus. We are not just running at the top of the ticket. We have Green Party activists involved in candidates and challenges to power at every level of government. So this is part of a movement. It really is. And because it's part of a movement, because it's reflective of some of the highest principles the one can articulate, we are seeing something quite unique here in this country in October. You know, normally in October, a third-party challenge will begin to sort of lose some momentum. You know, as we get closer to the election date, your folks who have the idealism and they may verbalize support for a third party, you know, it gets to a point because you are constantly beaten down that if you cast your vote for a third party, you are you know, supporting the other party or Trump or whatever, and that argument becomes somewhat effective. And so we find that people will start, you know, deciding they're going to hold their nose and vote for the lesser of two evils. And especially this year, because the Democrats have been quite effective in the kind of fear-mongering that they have been involved in propping up this individual, Donald Trump. Now, they've been quite effective because it's easy to do. Because he does represent some very, very dark and ominous forces. There's no question about that at all. You know, Trumpism will be with us after November the 8th. But in our concern with Trump and Trumpism, and looking at this more crude expression of racism and xenophobia coming from that side, we have missed what's developing on the other side. We have missed seeing and understanding this political realignment that's taking place here in this country. A realignment on the right. There's a reason why elements of the elite that normally support the Republicans have felt comfortable leaving the Republican Party and moving over to the Democrat Party. And understand this. We're going to be honest tonight. And please don't get confused. When we analyze Trump and Trumpism, it's not to suggest that there's something positive coming from that side. You know, but we have to just look at it and look at it clearly. The Republicans have always played with race. In fact, it's been a very effective instrument since the 1960s. That was the whole basis of, you remember, the Southern strategy. That when the Republican Party began to engage in its own realignment, it swept across the South, moved there was an abandonment of folks who were in the Democrat Party, which was the party of white supremacy, and moved over to the Republicans. So race is something that they are, and racism is something they've been quite comfortable with. Now, the difference is this, that, you know, they have used the euphemisms and the cold words. You know, it wasn't quite acceptable to be an open and crude kind of racist. So when Ronald Reagan starts his campaign in Philadelphia, Mississippi, we all know what that means. It means basically that the South is going to rise and it's all right to be a racist, but we don't say it. But the message and the messaging is clear, okay? And that's how they have dealt with this issue of white supremacy on the Republican side for quite some time. Now, the difference now is that Donald Trump, he doesn't really deal with the euphemisms and the cold words. His racism is just quite in your face and crude, okay? Now, you would think that that is the element, his racism and his xenophobia, his sexism, that is the part that is causing the elite to abandon the Republican Party. Well, I you might conclude that, but it doesn't seem plausible to me. There must be some other reasons why they're concerned with Donald Trump. And I suggest to you, my friends, that you look at some of the things he is saying, and what he is saying is causing some real concern for the transnational elite, still situated here in the U.S., but an elite that has this global agenda, an agenda in which they are trying to concentrate their power, maintain their hegemony, push these free trade agreements that they believe will ensure their hegemony. And when you have someone like Donald Trump, who's raising questions about free trade, who's raising questions about the role of NATO, who's questioning why the U.S. has to see Russia as some natural enemy, who's causing people to maybe think a little bit, the ones who are still thinking, that becomes the problem for them and their agenda. So they don't care about the fact that he's a racist and he's a Islamophobe. They don't really care about that. They care about their agenda. And we have to be clear about that ourselves. We have to have the correct analysis so we can construct the kinds of effective oppositional politics we have to engage in. We can't allow ourselves to be so easily manipulated by the propagandists, okay? And again, they represent some dangerous forces. But at the same time, Hillary Clinton represents something in some ways even more dangerous, because she represents a right-wing political orientation. She represents the interests of this ruling elite that has no concern about all of us. We have talked about the billionaire class. Well, the billionaires are now consolidated and united behind who? Hillary Clinton. Okay? So we're looking over here at Trump, and the right-wing Democrats have consolidated power. And people who call themselves progressives, who should know better and understand that, they so freaked out about Trump, they're ready to subordinate themselves to the right-wingers in the Democratic Party. Now, folks, that's just backward. We've got to be smarter than that, okay? So what we have to understand, my friends, is that when we decide we're going to surrender to the Democrats, that basically what we are saying is we want the status quo. That we're going to continue with neoliberal trickle-down economics. We're going to continue with a commitment to global U.S. hegemony, which means also militarism. We're going to get just, fine words when it comes to issues of racial discrimination and racial oppression. We don't get, the kind of symbolism we got under Barack Obama. So we say that if you're really serious about a real alternative, if you're really serious about how we can get off this Democrat Party plantation, then we say you should look at this Green Party because we represent the only real alternative in this country. It's simple as that. Simple as that. And my friends, we on this campaign trail, and I can tell you that more and more people are taking a second look at this campaign. That's why, unlike traditional third parties that lose steam, we are in fact gaining steam. And understand this, even though it's reflected in not only us remaining steady in the polls, but we also are creeping up in the polls. But we understand this, they're not really even locking into what's really happening out here. There's stuff happening under the radar, things that aren't being reflected in the polls, And we think that one of the reasons why we are gaining more momentum is because of what people saw in these debates. In particular, the second debate. You see, during the nomination process on the Democrat side, one thing that didn't get a lot of attention was a discussion around U.S. foreign policy, right? So the issue of where the Democrats stood regarding issues of war and peace never really got aired out. But what we saw in this the so-called debate was some very dangerous positions, dangerous rhetoric on the part of Hillary Clinton that made it quite clear to many people around this country, and really around the world, that with the possibility of a Clinton administration, what we are going to have, in fact, is the real possibility of continued conflict, but even more dangerously, conflict with the Russians, the continuation of a fight in Syria, subversion in Latin America and Africa. We're going to see a commitment to upholding the 1% through any means necessary. So people are starting to say, you know what, I don't know if I can just hold my nose and make this vote. That it seems like it's more important to make an expression of opposition. That it's more important to have something to vote for than to be just voting against something. That the Stein Baraka campaign says that it's for peace, that it's for economic equality, that it's for eliminating oppression, that is for centering human rights and the needs of people, that is for a clean environment, that is for developing an educational experience in which the whole human being can be developed, that is for providing resources for housing, that is for eliminating student debt. That these are the kinds of things that are resonating with people and the kind of things that people say, you know what, I'm for that too. And if I'm for that, I need to be able to express my preference. That is, it is a undemocratic and even unprincipled posture and position to say that I have to hold my nose, surrender my principles, and vote for the lesser of two evils. And they are moving to the Green Party into this campaign. And that is so good to see and to feel. I'm telling you folks, it really is. We're on the right side of history. That's why we're here tonight. We have 2 more weeks in this campaign, and we are involved in a fight to win as much support as possible. We are involved in the fight to let people know that they do in fact have a choice. That if you believe in the possibility of democracy, we got to fight for democracy, we don't have it here, then you have to be part of this campaign and part of this movement. So we have nothing but opportunity ahead of us because, you know, even if we don't win in January, on November the 8th, we don't seize power in January, we know that we are going to be a significant force going forward. There's no question about that. So, I know I said we weren't going to talk at you, but I wanted to just kind of provide a context and a background for how we got here, why we're here, and talk a little bit about where we need to go. So I'm going to end here, and we have our town hall forum. Thank you so much.